In this lecture, we'll be discussing multivariate testing. What is it, the math behind it, the importance of testing design, and when to use A/B versus multivariate. So what is multivariate testing? Well, unlike A/B testing, multivariate variables can test multiple variables at the same time. For example, you can test subject line, time of day, content, and click button before deploying your main email to the majority of your list. The combination also can be tested of the different elements combined, which will provide you with the best winning email. So the math behind the multivariate test is, let's say you're trying to analyze two different buttons, two different texts, and two different images. So you would have the following combination. So essentially you would have 8 different sample sizes that you will be deploying this email to. What you can use is, there are two methods. The most commonly used is a full factorial testing, and the full factorial testing looks at every possible combination. So as I mentioned before, it will be 8 in this case, and will provide a results per each combination. So in this case, button 1 with text 2 and the second image would give you the email that should be deployed, and you can see it goes from the worst scenario, which is 0.5 to 4%. So in this case, you would deploy this combination to the rest of the list. Another method is fractional factorial. So it uses the same elements, but instead of testing 8 variations, would only test a fraction of that. And statistically, it's a bit less significant, but the upside of this is that you can use a much smaller sample size, as you would only be using partial results for that. The importance of testing design. So prior to starting with multivariate testing, it is important to think of all the elements that you want to test and come up with best combination for testing. In most cases, A/B testing is sufficient. However, if you want to do test design using multivariate methods, are recommended, since you can test combination of color and text, formatting your emails, colors, etc. I've used multivariate method for very, very large enterprise clients. I've yet to do it on a startup because the sample size of your email list is so small that you're not able to do that on an ongoing basis. So when to conduct A/B versus multivariate? Well, here's a quick guide to choosing the right testing technique for your list. So if you have a sample list or full list, I should say, of under 5,000, then A/B testing is recommended. Also, if you can do it quickly, so if you need to deploy an email, let's say tomorrow, then you don't have enough time to do the multivariate, to come up with all the variables, to see how you're going to test it, etc. Also, what type of test you want to do. You can usually do one element, obviously, with A/B testing, but you can also do 2 or more elements if you're looking at different metrics. So, for example, you can have a subject line test going on for your open rate, you can have a button going on for your click-through rate, and you can have 2 different landing pages for your conversions, for example. And also depending on the tools. So if you don't have a sophisticated tool out there to do that for you, A/B testing is the only way you can do it, unless you have a lot of time doing multivariate manual using your current tool. There are a lot of tools available on the marketplace today. Some marketing automations do allow for multivariate testing. Optimizely is another tool that's available on the marketplace. You can also use statistical software such as SAS or SPSS to do your analysis of your multivariate testing. But the testing, has to have a platform involved where you would deploy it. And that could be very tedious, especially if you don't have the right tools. In the next lecture, we'll discuss email marketing dashboards and how to set it up, what type of information does each level of your marketing team, of your executive team should be looking for.